What's going on, gang? What the fuck is good? It's your boy Phantom Fuego, PHANTM PHUEGO, and you are tuned into the news, views, previews, and reviews with just a twist of his Ghetto point of view. Ooh. Ladies and gents. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a marvelous weekend. Hope everybody's feeling great, looking great, feeling alive, feeling wonderful, feeling splendiferous. We gonna have a good time. Got a lot to open store for the shit-o today. As always, gang, any questions, comments, critiques, criticisms, you know how to get into them. His ghetto point of view at gmail.com. His ghetto point of view at gmail.com. His ghetto point of view at gmail.com. And I'm not going to belabor things today, gang. We got a lot to discuss, man. It's some crazy time, man. For those that may not be aware, a very prominent figure in the, I guess you would say, initially in the black manosphere, red pill talking space, but then, I guess translated, you'd say more into like a relationship, just overall advice, matchmaker. And then the numbers spoke for themselves. Influencer Kevin Samuels passed away, and yeah, man, we're gonna get into it today. We're gonna talk about how I personally felt about that. Because this is his ghetto point of view. How the larger community is reacting to his very sudden transition, passing, if you will, and how I see that whole narrative, and what I think. Where do I think the community goes from here? Because some people didn't really even know about him, and that's fine. But for those that did know about him, it was a community created and a narrative created around that energy. And where does that community go from here? Where does the larger black community go from here? I mean, because if, it seems like there's been a shift. And we're going to get into it. This is his ghetto point of view. Let's go. Yeah. We back. So, Kevin Samuels, man, myth, misogynist. If he was a misogynist, was he also a misandrist? Did he deal with misandry? A word I wasn't even familiar with until I personally started listening to his show. Misandry is actually the hate of men. But we don't seem to talk about that word in society anymore. We carry on like it doesn't exist. But it is a true word, misandry. It's a very real thing, but just not as a talked about topic as misogyny. We have women like Cynthia G. Shout out to Cynthia G. You know what I mean? Well, I've listened to a few podcasts, and I'm not going to sit here. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. She makes some points that I've made when talking to men. I know she coming from a place of hurt. You gotta be super. You gotta have a lot of hurt in your heart to be able to get in front of an audience and say you should kill babies. You just do. we can play around, we can act like, yeah. You gotta have a lot of hurt in your heart to be able to get in front of an audience and say we should abort babies, especially babies that look like you. Just calling a spade. You gotta have a lot of hurt in your heart to be able to get in front of an audience and say it's okay to spit on this grave because I don't like the opinions of this person, while also asking an audience in the world at large to respect your right to have your opinion and your voice that other people don't agree with. But it's a very weird dynamic that you can do both at the same time. That you can literally simultaneously say, hey, I'm for free speech and being able to have the right to say abort black boys, which is what Cynthia G says in no minced words on her channel. For those that haven't checked her channel out, listen, the young lady clearly has some very valid talking points. The young lady very clearly has done her homework in a lot of areas. She comes very well spoken, very articulate, clearly looks well to do for herself. Not saying that she's always been there. She may have come up from the dweller, or that could be true, but she looks like she's a hardworking young lady that, has her shit together. Salute to her. But in a very high-pitched nasally tone. Well, it doesn't. You should abort the black fetus. She minces no words about it. If they're not gonna protect you, they are useless, and you should abort them. And you know what? I mean, have I always had the most patience and compassion in my heart for brothers who I felt weren't really being helpful to the black community? Nope. Do I go to the extreme of saying we should destroy our future child bearers? Hell no. That's stupid. Those are the future potential leaders and rulers. If the women have an issue with the baby boys, then they have an issue with themselves, because that is a completely blank canvas and will only be what you pour into it. And when she gets on her platform and pushes this narrative, these men are not helping the community, she never goes into the fact that these men are being raised in single parent homes by women who have by and large said, you know what, I can do it on my own, I can do it myself, I don't need the father in the picture. And whatever bumps and bruises come with that decision are just scars to my beautiful character developing, and me and these children will be all right. The children have not made that decision for themselves. What? Say that again, Phantom. The children have not decided that for themselves. I was having a very in-depth conversation with a person the other day, and I was like, it's very interesting how parents can sometimes make these decisions for their children, and they never stop to think, well, would that be something that child would consider for itself if the child was old enough with the developed brain to make a decision? 25, 27, 28, 30, out here in the world living and making decisions. Is that something that child would have considered for themselves after, again, 27, 28, when the brain is really fully developed? Because let's be honest, even at 18, your brain is not really fully developed. You know what I'm saying? People are impressionable at that age, and society will get you making a lot of dumb decisions with your credit, fucking up your credit. They'll get you to jump into military conflicts that you may or may not want to be a part of. You know what I'm saying? For those who want to be in the military, it's a beautiful experience. For those that don't, I respect it. Go do something else with your time. Be constructive though. Be a productive, constructive part of society. Don't just, shit off. But just my ghetto point of view. Ooh. But yeah, man. It's really not necessary to espouse such hate, man. I just really feel like it's interesting that these women can get on these platforms, ask for First Amendment rights, and espouse so much hate in their hearts, and then we'll turn around and say, hey, these men hate black women for the things they say out their mouths. It's very interesting. Females on a variety of social media platforms get on their soapboxes and talk about everything from a man's wallet, his earning potential, his education, his capacity to read and write, the way he talks, his earning potential, how he smells, how he dresses and carries himself, his odor, body odor, which no man should have body odor. Every man should carry themselves a particular way. But I am just saying the range of things that women will openly talk about and laugh and chuckle about on platforms that are not only just female dominated and geared toward females, but actually have very wide ranging audiences of men and women listening collectively, and no one questions, chastises, threatens to tear down these platforms on a by and large scale. Do these platforms have haters? Of course. You never make it to the top of any arena without having haters. Man, woman, baby, old lady, priest, nun, bishop, whatever you are, pink fluffy dog, you will have haters when you get to the top of your whatever your arena is. In your local level, as you get to the top locally, as you get to the top regionally, as you get to the top nationally, as you get to the top internationally, you're going to have haters. And that's a good thing, because if you don't have haters, you really aren't accomplishing much with your time. You're not on time, you're not on target, you don't understand the assignment, you have no idea what the freak is going on. You just don't know what you're doing. If you're not, just in my humble opinion, if you don't have haters, if you don't have people saying, yo, this dude is really about that life, this dude is really getting to it, this dude is really getting it done, then you're not doing anything right. You're just not. You're not on enough people's radar for them to critique you. Because a lot of the times the hate is criticism, whether it's constructive or just stupid nonsense they're saying out their mouths. It's two different things. But a lot of the times it's because you've put yourself in a position to be on their radar that now you can be critiqued. So don't always take being critiqued as the negative thing. Now you may not take what they say as valid, because again, they might just be talking bullshit and it may not actually be related to you. Like a lot of the people who would talk about Kevin Samuels, they'd make statements that had nothing to do with actually what the show was talking about on a particular given day. They wouldn't talk about the topic, or they wouldn't even make statements that were based in reality. Perfect example, there seemed to be a very wide audience that, because they had gotten into him in the past 2 years, they didn't acknowledge the fact that for the first 4-5 years of his career on YouTube, on Patreon, he focused on Facebook as well. He focused primarily on talking to men and telling men how they can level up financially, telling men that they need to learn how to fight and discipline themselves, how they need to be men of character and value, how they need to be honest with women, morally upright to women, how they need to be even open to bringing in other men's children into their homes for the sake of building back up the community. He discusses all of this in length and detail and says men that are not willing to do these things are a waste in the community, and that the men of high moral character are going to have to be the ones to control the narrative of the community. And at some point, there may have to be a physical clash between the upstanding, upright men in the community and these poo-putts who are just trying to bring the community down. Not one person on a major global scale, on a large collective platform with a ton of people, nobody with checks next to their names really gave a damn. But you see, this should show you the value of women, because women control checkbooks, women control market share, women control spending and buying habits. So when you control women's attention, people are more concerned about that because they collectively buy for family units. What do I mean by that? A woman, especially an older woman, a woman 25, 35, 45, 55, is very likely going to have some family associated with her. She's going to have maybe a couple of kids, some nephews, nieces, grandbabies, godchildren, what have you, that she collectively is responsible for. So the things that influence her will influence a greater amount of people, as opposed to the things that influence men very likely may only influence a single individual person if that man has not had a family, wife, children, is not actively involved in his community, if he's not like a pastor or a community leader, a deacon, if he doesn't run the local Y or the Beacon or the rec center, if he's not involved in his PAL, if he's not a very community driven individual, which many men, unfortunately the majority of men in our community are not, not. If you're not a community driven individual that's pouring back into your community, you're not really going to affect and impact more people in the community besides yourself. So when you do things, it only impacts, it only affects you, it only helps you. Just my initial thoughts. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Yeah, so jumping right back in, look at it, check it out in your own communities. You really don't see too many brothers who are not either involved because they have family ties in the community, or they the coach, they manage the local store, they pastor, deacon at the church, whatever it is. If they not involved in the community in that particular way, they a local politician, whatever it is, you know what I mean? In the Nation of Islam, they, whatever they do to help serve. If they not that type of individual, because for every 10 men in the community, you might have 2 or 3 of those, so it's not the overwhelming majority, unfortunately, not yet. Though I feel one day we'll get back to that. I do feel one day we'll get back to that, and very soon. I think that these type of things that are happening now are going to be the catalyst to that return. As a whole, black men are more involved fathers. Reports from both the CDC, whitehouse.gov, myriad of other places have made that declaration. Based on fathers, men being there at doctor's appointments, men taking children to appointments, men, who are the people that are generally there most. And they found that black men are generally there mostly. So, more than other races. Craziness. So that narrative is very interesting. And, so for a man who was trying to awaken us to the fact that narrative that black fathers are not involved is a joke, and even with us being the most involved, we shouldn't be judging ourselves against people who don't want to be involved with their families. Shouldn't be judging ourselves by that. So when you teach a woman, as they would say in the Nation of Islam, when you teach a woman, I'm sure before the Nation of Islam, people have said this, but that's where I heard this, that when you teach a woman, and I believe it was the most honorable Elijah Muhammad in particular, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad in particular, who made that statement, when you teach a woman, you teach a whole, you're potentially teaching a whole generation, but when you teach a man, you're teaching a single individual. And that's very true, especially as the older she gets, the more community involved generally women are. Women with families anyway, that is changing these days. We having more women who are disconnected and individualized. So we'll see how this changes going forward. But normally that was the thinking, that if you teach a woman, because she's gonna have kids, those kids are gonna have kids, you could potentially be influencing a lot of people. Females may also be the teachers in the community, etc., the nurses. They're doing a lot of front-facing people work that puts them in direct communication, direct touch with people on an interpersonal level, and that can be influential. You can have a lot of sway over people when you have such personal contact with them frequently, because now you're developing a rapport. They're comfortable with you, and they soak in what you say much easier, which is why people who promote brands, they're generally talking to women, because women control pocket strings, purses, which influence the buying for multiple people. They gotta buy for their kids to eat, for them to eat, clothes for their children, clothes for themselves. And that's not to say there aren't men who do this, but by and large, the reason that these commercials are targeted and marketed toward women, they were initially since time immemorial, is because women control these things. Women would be at home during the day. So it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to make a soap commercial that a woman would like. I'm going to make a dish detergent commercial that a woman would like. I'm going to make my plastic forks the way a woman would like them. I'm going to make these cups look like something a woman would want to buy. Shower curtains, all type of stuff for your bathroom, potpourri. I mean, the list goes on and on. You're going to make it. Most companies that want to be successful target females with these products, with their products, because females control the pocket strings for a lot of people. If you write a children's book, you're probably going to target the moms when you're selling it, because, they got kids. This is pretty basic information. McDonald's, when they promote and market the Happy Meals, they're generally bringing in a mom with her kids. This is just what it is. I don't know what else to say. Pay attention to commercials. You'll see it. So women generally are thought, when you're influencing and talking to them, you're influencing and talking to a whole family, which potentially can be talking to a whole community. And now online, with the communities we're building through the web, when you're talking to women, you're potentially talking to millions of women at the same time. That's very powerful. Because you could be in real time affecting change in so many different neighborhoods all at once. If you can get enough of a tipping point, which is something Kevin Samuels used to preach all the time. He don't need everybody. Oh, everybody's not going to agree. It's something people used to say at first. And he used to be like, I don't need everybody to agree. I just need 10%. I just need a tipping point, and then it'll start to roll. the man had such a focused, mathematical, pragmatic way to look at how to build and grow and how to target his message the way people would understand it, be able to digest it, be able to share it, disseminate it, pass it around to other people in a way that was easy and that made sense and was hard hitting. Hard hitting. And so if you take that hard hitting message and you're influencing a bunch of women, now you're going to get a lot of attention that you may not have gotten initially, because now you're affecting market share, you're affecting dollars. He was having conversations about women need to be saving money. It's a damn pandemic coming. Winter is coming. He said he talked about the fact that there was going to be a wave of homelessness. He talked about the fact that there was going to be a wave of people losing their jobs and how people of other races were able to resign and go home when the market flipped and things completely buckled in during the pandemic. He talked about the fact that a lot of women were able to rely on the fact that they were a part of a two-parent household, and so them and their partner, them and their significant other, them and their leader, their captain, their coach, if they put them in that role, or their partner if they put them in that role, depending on what type of relationship dynamic y'all got going on, them and their significant other could pivot, and they could stay home if need be while the schools were figuring things out. They could create homeschooling communities while the schools were figuring things out, and then there's a large percentage of people who just decided to completely just stay homeschooled after that point and buckle in, change things to be able to accomplish things under the one salary. And I mean, if you think about it, I know a lot of people, and this is also something he tried to preach, that people can live under one salary. People can live under one salary. It's about lowering. He said if women would lower their financial expectations, buckle in, live a little off a little less, so y'all could be saving bread. If you're gonna have two salaries, he talked about living off of one salary, so the other salary could be saved, so y'all can have y'all money to retire off, or save money, spend less frivolously, and you'd be surprised how the family can in fact live off of one decent salary. And if you think about it, if you're not spending gas to take 3 and 4 people to work and school, that's saving a ton of money. If I now get to work remotely, or if only one person has to travel, that's saving a ton of gas and a ton of bus fares, train fares, tramway fares, etc. That adds up. I'm not beating up my shoes as much, walking all around, trying to travel to school, travel to work, etc. Boom, my shoes is lasting longer. That saves money. I'm not having to wear as much clothes as much, probably, unless I still like to just get fly and flip out outfits all day. Beautiful, that's my thing. I'm saving money on clothes. I'm saving money on gas. I'm saving money on bus and train tickets. I'm probably, if I don't have to now eat out at the office, or my kids don't have to buy lunch at school, now I'm saving money there. I mean, there's so many different ways families started to save thousands of dollars. So even though that the amount of money they were bringing in went down, their expenses also went down. And some would argue their expenses may have went down more than the amount of money that was being brought in. Because a lot of people's salaries, when you take out for taxes, man, you be spending so much in expenses. How much you really bringing in, unless you bringing in a substantial salary? The average salary in this country for females be like $35,000, $40,000. So what are you really saving? Now again, if you're a female that's an engineer, you're an attorney, you're a doctor, you're an accountant, you're a mathematician, you have a high level skill where you have to get licenses and you do your thing. We're not talking about you. Or even if you have your own business, so now you're making a ton of money, as a daycare provider, hair braiding, or being a beautician, whatever you do. If you have a laundromat or dry cleaner, and you're making a ton of money now, whatever you do to do that, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. But those type of businesses, you don't have to be there all the time. You can hire a staff that can operate it for you. So even in that scenario, you could kind of give more time to your kids. This is really about women who, because they were just committed to jobs, even whether that job was a one giving them a decent salary or not. And decent is vague, because like less than 10% of the women in this country make over 75 grand. Less than 10%. So if you have 3, 4, 5 children and you make $60,000 plus you, like, how much money are you actually dividing per person after taxes? It doesn't really, I don't get it. It's decent living. It's not this grand wild lifestyle that so many seem to require from others if they're going to be willing to be committed to a marriage. And people like Kevin Samuels were just saying, maybe we should be more realistic. We should look at the numbers. We should be more realistic about what we're expecting based off of those numbers. The numbers are real. He wasn't making up the numbers. You can go on the Bureau of Labor, the Bureau of, you can check out job statistics yourself, labor statistics yourself, finance statistics yourself, how much jobs pay on average, what the qualifications are to make that type of salary with different jobs, the degrees, the network you have to have, the certifications you have to have and maintain and keep up, and how much those cost, and the percentage of people that actually make that. Even with all of those things put together, it's very small, and on average most people make between $35,000 to $55,000 in this country, with most people really falling in between that 35 and 55 range. We really being nasty to each other for $20,000 for 20 bands that most probably go away in tax money. You get a couple of it back at the end of the year, tax season. Hopefully you taking that and investing in companies, investing in different things that are tangible, land, precious metals, things of that nature. Hopefully you're doing that work. And of course, I'm a big fan of investing in crypto as well, but I'm not as much of a fan of holding in crypto as I am trading in crypto at the right times of the market. Though I will say hold some crypto, because the inevitability is we will all be transferring to a crypto economy. So get used to, financing in it. But don't put all your eggs in one basket ever. You should have a diversified portfolio, because different markets will go up and down at different times. Different markets will have different seasons. So, your precious metals will have a season. Your, properties, if you have properties, will have a season. Your artwork will have a season. Everything will have a season. And the more different markets you're established in, the better, your outlook can be. Stuff that I'm figuring out myself, and all things I really give Kevin Samuels a lot of credit for, because show your worth, show your work, be able to be accountable, take the time to really study and constantly be building yourself, are all things he preaches all the time. Constantly be refining yourself. If you really want to be at the top of your craft, you can't sit around playing video games all day. You just can't. And then try to demand the respect of your family, demand the respect of your children, demand the respect of your wife. Women are, just a shout to men, women are naturally going to be seeking, and this is something I used to hear from Minister Louis Farrakhan all the time. Shout out to him and the Nation of Islam. And also the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Malcolm X. Women naturally want to be made secure. By their nature, they are looking for those who can create security, homes to nest in. The Queen Mother, Sister Shahrazad Ali, said this in one of her lectures, and I thought it was a very good point, that even rats require, the female rats require a male rat to be able to prove he has a stable nest before she will mate with him. So she said it's very interesting that rats know to require that of one another, but we seem to call a woman a gold digger, or she just wants you for your money if she requires that, she can make a nest for the children you're asking her to bring into this reality, this existence, into this crazy world. And I'm just gonna have a good time with her. Even in just having a good time, babies can be made. Generally having babies should be a good time. I've never been, blessed to be up in them heavenly walls and thought it was a bad season. Generally speaking, when I'm not having a good time with it, I'm not even into it. If we having a good time with it, it's a good time. You know what I'm saying? We all grown here. We know when it's a good time versus not a good time, and how that can completely change the feng shui of the whole situation, the mood in the room, everything. So, yeah, man, it's very interesting. I think just thinking about all those things is very interesting, and I think that Kevin Samuels helped a lot of people to really get in a bag, to really focus and lock in. He got people married, man. These fucking relationship gurus on all these channels that don't get anybody married. Like, think about that. I've been around, I've heard and seen a lot of people talk a lot of this, get the black community back together stuff, and we gotta be able to get along. And I never heard people bring practical advice, except out of a few places. The Nation of Islam, and as an extension of the Nation of Islam, Sister Shahrazad Ali, Kevin Samuels. We need the black community married. Oh, well, do you think I'm not a valuable person if I'm not married? No, it's not about that. You're not a valuable person as an individual. Of course you are a valuable individual, but if the goal is for the community as a collective to be valuable, if the goal is for the community as a collective to be valuable, we need marriages. Because if people are married, people are genuinely more inclined to want the community to be better, because they're going to have children being raised and playing in that community. They have a wife and a husband that need to be able to do commerce, do business in that community, find work or bring work to that community. So generally, when you are married, your mindset changes to a more team, looking for what the entire team needs mindset. And I'm not saying that happens to every married person, because there's some selfish married people out here. I'm talking about generally. If you've had some good marriage counseling, if you've had some good parenting, if you were shown the things that a wife and husband should be trying to do before you walk down that aisle, then generally it'll help your mind change. And very often the divorces people see, in my humble opinion, is because you are being forced into these changes that you didn't think you needed to make. A lot of people be like, oh damn, now they got the title of husband and wife, and now because of that title it changed their relationship. It's not the title, it's the duties and the responsibilities that now come with the title that people don't want, in my humble opinion. Because as Shakespeare would say, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet, a thorn by any other name will still prick you. It's not the title to me People like, oh, we got that title and things changed. So it wasn't the title. It was the things, it was the tangible aspects, duties, and responsibilities that are assumed now with that title. Everybody was cool, just having fun and playing. But getting down to the work, getting down to the nitty gritty of family building, community building. Oh, now we gotta save money. Oh, now we gotta think about the future. Oh, now we gotta put money away for healthcare and health plans and retirement and insurance and, school, basketball teams, baseball teams, soccer teams, college plans. Or your daughter wants to open up a little business. Your son wants to open up a little business, have a little paper route. He wants to develop an app. He wants to take a class in beatbox and making beats, music production, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like these are real things, real responsibilities, real tangible responsibilities that now come once that threshold is passed, that line is crossed, that you could play with before. But now you can't play with. And don't get me wrong, there are people who, based on their religious beliefs, will still carry out these type of duties for their significant other. But I would argue those people have a spiritual connection to one another, and because of their spiritual beliefs, their religious beliefs, they already are committed to them same marital obligations. Shout to the Crimson Cure. I was watching her channel and she was talking about Sharia law and Islam, and how in Sharia law she's already bound based on the tenets of Islam to be married in a particular way, and that's even more conservative and strict than American law in certain aspects. And for her own personal preference, when the marriage responsibilities in Sharia law are different than what the law would say in an American or Western marriage, she'll just go with the Sharia law. And also how she doesn't feel even the need for a marriage license, because in an Islamic country, her marriage in the mosque would also get a license because it's a Muslim-led state. So those marriages that happen in the mosque are recognized by the state as well, and you get the license. Whereas in America, you can get married in a Christian church, Catholic, Baptist church, whatever. Those marriages aren't necessarily recognized by the state, even in the synagogues. And some people say people of the Jewish faith use this to their advantage, that you can, and some people, I would argue some Muslims probably use this to their advantage too, where you can go get the licenses to be married in the synagogue, in the mosque, and so you don't have to go get it from the state, and then you can still go down to state offices and say, I'm single, I have all these children, please cut me a check. And they'll never know that you're actually married to a husband who makes hundreds of thousands of dollars, or at least makes $70,000 or $80,000 a year, because you guys only got married at the synagogue and you guys don't believe in putting the state into your business. Very simple and plain. Or the state, what you feel needs to be in your business, is the church state. And that's it. And that is more than enough for you based on your relationship with the Most High, Supreme Being, who you serve. You know what I'm saying? With your church family, with your religious organization or institution. And that's dope as fuck, to be that committed on that level of spirituality. Fuck the state. We don't need them. I mean, we do that in the hood too. We be like, yo, that's my wife. I don't need no fucking paperwork. She know what it is. I know what it is. And that can be very real. And the only thing I would say to that is to have a will. Because even if you're not going to get married by the state, with the state license, the will then make whatever you want for whoever you want to control the estate. You know what I'm saying? Whoever you want to be the executor, as they call it, the designated people to administrate the estate, that will all be designated. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to go get the marriage license necessarily so your wife will be next of kin, but you can create a living will. So while you're still alive, you can say, I have sound mind and body, declare this is the way I want things to be done. You can have an attorney look it over, or an accountant, etc. Have it, have these things notarized by public notaries. I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own goddamn research. Holler at professional CPAs. Holler at attorneys that deal in family trust and family law, family business law, estate planning in particular. If I holler at estate planning attorneys, not real estate attorneys, estate planning, family planning attorneys, family estates attorneys, trust attorneys that are familiar with creating trust, living trust, and things like that. Ones that you can seal or unseal. All that stuff I'm looking into as well. And I really feel it's because of people like Kevin Samuels saying, yo, it's time to turn up. It's really time to turn up. And I feel like I've always had, been into having those motivational people around. You know what I mean? Eric Thomas. I used to be a big Eric Thomas. Thank God it's Monday listener. I feel like he really got me through my bachelor's. Helped me motivate there. But it's like, when you a baller and you play for different, after a while, a particular coach's strategy may not be as motivational anymore. You've been hearing this coach for a while. I got it. Like, different coaches, man, bringing different people in to allow them to give an ear and a perspective and some insight. And I feel that Kevin Samuels was the coach I needed, and so many people needed. Clearly, the man had millions and millions of people listening and watching and sharing and viewing online, going viral repeatedly. So clearly this was the coach that so many people felt they needed for this new season of their life. And he was tragically taken, but the work is still there, man. You can't take the work away. You can't take the work away. And there's enough of a catalog that these videos will hopefully not be taken down by YouTube. Some people were suggesting that, download your favorite ones now because you never know what could happen. I do agree with that. I think there will be some episodes, especially some of the men's episodes, that I will take a moment to download just so I can have them in a stash. Never know what's going to happen with YouTube, whatever. And yeah, I'll be able to pull those up, archive them the right way, be able to pull those up 10, 15 years from now. Tell my little bands, yo, listen to this video. You don't like what I'm saying? Listen to how this person gave their perspective on it. I'm sure there'll be other people by that time giving out the same news. This stuff happens in cycles. But, I like this person's narrative or this person's perspective. And you might not be hearing it like this in 15 years. Just a thought. Take a quick break. Be right back. Yeah, gang, we back. And as always, any questions, comments, critiques, criticisms, you know where to reach me. You know where to reach me. His ghettopointofview@gmail.com. His ghettopointofview@gmail.com. His ghettopointofview@gmail.com. Shout out to all the moms, out here this weekend. Hope y'all had a great weekend. It's just kind of hard for me to think about with all the women I'm seeing online talking like this about some mama's son. It's hard for me to wish those same women, a happy Mother's Day. But you know what? Happy Mother's Day to y'all. I hope y'all had a blast at y'all parties, talking crazy about this man all weekend, simultaneously saying nobody ever better do nothing to your son. I hope y'all had a blast, right? So, Kevin Samuels' relationship advice vlogger dead following incident report. According to Bob. Kevin Samuels, the highly opinionated, sometimes controversial relationship advice vlogger, reportedly died at the age of 56. I've been seeing everything from 56 to 53 to 57. This is crazy. Like, his Wikipedia page says he's 53, but he, out his own mouth, said he's 57. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very confused about all of this. Yeah. Rumors of the death began to circulate on social media Thursday afternoon, May 5th. Independent media platform Black with No Chaser was the first one to report confirmation of Samuel's passing. According to the account, the self-proclaimed guru was subject of an emergency made call. Excuse me, gang. Was the subject of an emergency call made to the Atlanta first responders, pretty much 911 emergency, during the late night hours on Wednesday, May 4th, or early Thursday morning, where he was found unresponsive and transferred to a local hospital where he was declared deceased. BWNC continues to detail a witness account of the situation in this Twitter thread. A neighbor of the podcaster and vlogger posted their own account of the events, and Black with No Chaser spoke with the neighbor, who also confirmed to us the truth of their awareness of the situation. YouTuber Melanie King, a friend of Samuel's, also recently confirmed on her page. The friend mentioned in the news thread, Melanie King, a popular vlogger of her own accord, has shared posts on social media mourning Samuels. Additionally, author and public figure Mark Lamont Hill confirmed the news on his Twitter. To quote, "I'm in shock. This is my big brother." An incident report for a quote-unquote sick person/person down call was made by the Atlanta Police Department on Friday morning. It was made public by the Atlanta Police Department Friday morning. The report revealed that on May 5th, a woman named Hortensia Alcantara called for help regarding an injured person. So it could have been like it was already past midnight. So that could be why they're like the night of the 4th, the morning of the 5th. Understood. He could have already been, The narrative written by Officer Joel Figueroa, who explained that on the scene, the fire department performed CPR on a black male unresponsive on the floor of his apartment. He was identified as Kevin Samuels by Alcantara. According to the report, although it's spelled Kevin under the involved person section, Kelvin Samuels. Miss Alcantara stated that she met Mr. Samuels last night, came to his apartment, and spent the night with him. She met him last night. Wow. Ms. Alcantara also said that early morning, Mr. Samuels complained of chest pain and she attempted to help him, but he fell on top of her and proceeded to notify 911. The report detailed. APD expressed APD is not able to, the Atlanta Police Department, APD is not able to confirm the death of anyone involved in this call, only that someone was transported to the hospital, and continued, if someone has died in Fulton County, the medical examiner's office should be able to confirm. FIBE has contacted the office requesting the release of information. Samuel's mother, Beverly Samuels Birch, confirmed his passing to NBC News on Friday morning, excluding personal details. That was a terrible thing for social media to put that out. I didn't even know. I hadn't even been notified, she expressed to the news outlet on Friday. All I'm doing is requesting that people pray for us. So they had put it into the news and didn't even tell his moms yet. That TMZ shit, disgusting. Article continues. Samuels rose to digital fame on YouTube, where he had over 1 million subscribers and managed to garner additional followings across Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The image consultant produced content popular among black audiences. Not just black audiences, it was mad white people watching that show. They need to cut it out. People from all over the world was calling it, seeking relationship advice as well as general lifestyle suggestions and guidance. His opinions were controversial for his tone and word choice, with YouTube videos titled "Modern Women Charge for Submission, How Much Does It Cost?" and "Women Should Let Men Use Them." I never saw that one, but okay. Although criticized by many for being misogynistic, Samuel's platform continued to expand as his videos and clips often went viral. In February, he was able to bring his brand to an Instagram live session with Nicki Minaj. A couple of weeks later, he made a guest appearance in Future's music video for Worst Day, where he shared Valentine's Day dating advice with the Atlanta rapper. Word, not just them, I mean, Brittany Renner was on his show. So many key people. He had got interviewed on his on a larger platform. He had done the interview with Vlad TV. He did the interview with I can't remember the lady. She's being sued by Nicki Minaj right now. The one that does the wine, and she has the winos as her. The name is, I'm sorry, she's being sued by Cardi B. The name escapes me at the moment. But yeah, article continues. Followers of Samuels have taken to social media to offer condolences and share gratitude for his work. Conversely, his critics has also used Twitter to share their messages about his messaging, both causing the popular vlogger to continue as a trending topic, even in passing. Shouts to Demisha Inman for the article. It's very interesting times, man. Very interesting times we live in. I never understood how so many people can be so happy to see somebody transition and move, pass on in this way. I don't really get it. I've never, not on such a grand scale. I've never seen this level of vitriol for Hitler. I know people hate Hitler overall, but I've never seen this level of public speak on him. But again, he didn't pass in our time, so had he passed during social media, what would have been said, right? That's an argument that could be made. Osama bin Laden passed during social media time. I didn't see this much of a widespread, yeah, it's good that he's gone. Just me, I didn't see it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying I didn't see it. Saddam Hussein, I didn't see this level of. I saw the newspapers and stuff talking about it. Yeah, we got him. I didn't see people, in 9/11. You'd argue 9/11 caused massive trauma to the American people. People literally, perished in those terror attacks. I don't know, man. It seems like somebody who didn't have as much of a actual power grab or control, real dominance over our personal lives, being characterized as somebody who had all this, this great level of power. And the only influence that a person, a YouTuber, a vlogger, a podcaster, somebody who works with brands and marketing and image, the only power and persuasion that person can have in one's life is the one you voluntarily give. because they're not charging you for admission. And then if they are charging for admission, which they actually did after a while, people would pay so they could be admitted in. So it's like you're telling grown adults who paid to be a part of something that they're now a victim. That's, I mean, where do we draw the line? Is like everybody who's a grown adult who does something wrong now also a victim of it? Are there people out here who can sway you and hypnotize you and bring you under their control? Absolutely. But I'd argue with anything, there has to be a voluntary submission. There has to be a voluntary giving up of the rights of my authority, of myself, of my autonomy. I'm giving you my time. I'm giving you my attention. I'm coming seeking your advice. I'm logging into the Zoom queue, logging into the YouTube chat, logging into the Facebook chat, logging into Instagram chat, holding my position in the queue sometimes for quite a long time to ask a question. I am making these intentional, conscious decisions every single moment. I wait online, I post, I submit a text, I DM. I'm making a conscious decision to engage and interact with the content. Nothing is telling me to turn it on. It doesn't even come on regular TV. I have to go find this content. I have to search it up on a social media platform. I have to search it up on YouTube. I have to search it up on Facebook. I have to punch it in for it to come up. Or somebody might share it in my feed. And because these algorithms know it's something that would pique my interest, they put it in my search. They put it on my timeline. The algorithms wouldn't feed it to me if they didn't think it's something that they could make money off me paying attention to. I mean, these are just real things, and it's such a joke that then people get to carry on like they're complete victims when all of these things have to be in place. The algorithms have to know. If you're saying, oh, well, I don't go search out his stuff, I only see the clips that people share on my timeline. So those are people who who watch that content. Why are you hanging with people who watch that content and share it to you? If it's so bad, you can mute them or mute the content. Oh, well, it just comes down my feed. That means based on what you do, what you buy, where you shop, the things you watch, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, these algorithms have determined that this is stuff that would pique your interest, and whether it would make you mad or it make you happy, it's stuff that they know they can get you to focus on for extended periods of time, so they'll spend their money putting it on your feed, because everything they do on these apps costs them money. So they're not going to put stuff in your feed that they know you're not going to be interested in, or is a waste of time, or just doesn't associate with you. And now they even have the buttons where you could put like, yo, this doesn't fit me, I'm not interested in this. Because they want to save money. They don't want to waste time sending you ads that you don't care about. They don't want to put stuff in your stream you don't care about. And don't get it twisted. All these engagements are ads for something. Everything is selling us something. An idea, a mindset, a new cologne, a new watch. Everything is selling us something. Facebook is always selling us something. Facebook has tons of ads. And in between all these videos that they have us watching and paying attention to, they throw in sponsored ads. Or they throw in sponsored videos. Just some thoughts, man. We got to be able to take more responsibility for the content that we take in. We can't say somebody should die because we decided to take in that content, or hang with people who take in that content, or not mute it if we don't like it. Mute it, delete it, turn it off, get off the app, walk away. It's my phone. I shouldn't have to turn these things off. They should just be turned off and and those people should just never work again. That's kind of silly. That's just kind of silly. So on Mother's Day weekend, a mother lost a son. Her ex-wife had to mourn her husband. Her ex-husband, daughter had to mourn her father. And nobody cares because they said they didn't like what he said. He didn't control gas being high. He didn't control the war going on in Ukraine. He didn't have anything to do with the high prices that we face just to buy groceries. Nothing to do with the fact that the schools were closed for several months during this pandemic and the children are behind. Nothing to do with anything that's I would argue, larger issue in society right now that is presently plaguing us. But you know what? That misogynist deserved to fucking die. Where we at in society? Where we at in society, man? Just his ghetto point of view. Listen, thank you guys so much for rocking and vibing today, man. May that king rest in power. May his family be under the comfort and mercy of the Most High. May everybody pray for them, because everybody needs prayer, man. Everybody needs thoughts and well wishes, especially at times like this. May they find the comfort that they need. It's your boy Phantom Fuego. This has been his ghetto point of view. Tap in with me another day. Set your notification bells so in a few days when the next episode go live, y'all tuned in. Love y'all, gang. Peace. We out.